So yeah, that was a lot of information. I think I'll discuss it after checking out this audio log.
The Northmen say that in the beginning there was nothing but darkness. Bitter cold to the north, fiery hot to the south. They say the cold formed ice, which melted from the sparks from the south. The power of the darkness gave life to the dripping ice, and the first giant was born. Surt, the fire giant has answered. He comes from a land older than mankind, and the Northmen call upon his flaming sword to raise their enemies to the ground. Find him, Senua, and spill his blood.
Target obtained. Surt, the fire giant.
She found the wretched old fool on her way back from the wilds. An outcast, was badly burnt all over. She took pity on him, for he was not long for this world. Like her, who spoke of his own darkness. The Northmen.
Am I being trolled by this video game? I don't see anyone else around here. I hope I'm not missing someone. It's hard to tell if I am or... Because really, should I be trusting these voices in Senua's head? That is where they are from, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily trustworthy. That's why psychosis can be such a difficult thing to deal with, I assume. Again, I have no personal experience with it. Let's look around here for a little bit as I discuss the things that have happened. I'm trying not to talk over... Whoa, that's a face. Too much of the narration because of just how good it is. But that leaves me very little time for this voice of my own. I guess I need to be more assertive if I want to talk over the other voices in Senua's head. I'm examining it closer with my mind vision, but nothing else seems to be happening. If I can interact with it, I can't do it just yet. My controller's vibrating when I get near it, which makes it seem like it's something important, but maybe that'll be later. So yes, this is a single-player, narrative-focused game with permadeath. Not the kind of game you would expect to have that feature, but that's part of what makes this so unique. The more times you die, the further the black rot will spread, eventually reaching her head, the seat of her soul, and thus claim her for hell. Something I do actually wonder is if in Norse mythology, is the head considered to be the seat of the soul? Because in most previous civilizations, that's usually the heart, or some other part of the body other than the head. So it would be interesting if Norse mythology actually did have the head be the seat of the soul, and that's not something that this game just made up. But wait, did I just go backwards? No, that's a new set of doors. I was worried for a second that I got turned around. Wouldn't surprise me if that does happen at some point. I'm not good at going in a single direction, that's for sure. Okay, we got a boy to deal with. So, since we're dealing with deadly combat, something I can die to, theoretically, if I don't do well enough. That whole permadeath thing? From what I understand, that's somewhat of an empty threat. It's only there just to put you more in Senua's headspace and feel the same sense of urgency and the threat of death that she does. Because in actuality, even though the game claims that the game will be over once the rot reaches Senua's head, it never actually will do that. If you do end up dying a bunch, it will eventually halt its progression, and only continue further once you've made it farther in the story. So outside of glitches, shout out to Jim Sterling, poor sucker who suffered a game-ending glitch. Outside of glitches, your game will not end even if you do poorly. Of course, it's unlikely that you'll even ever do poorly because the combat is balanced to be pretty easy. That's what I've been told, and that does seem to be the case so far. So, any threats of death are purely there for narrative emphasis, not gameplay difficulty. So if that kind of thing concerns you, don't worry about it too much.
I can still smell it. The sweet, sickly stench of burning human flesh. And I still hear their cries carried in the wind. You hear them too, Senua?
Yes, I heard their screams, and I still hear them now.
So, somewhere in this environment I need to find an H and a Y, side by side. Yeah, I still haven't come across that traveler. Maybe there was a corpse on the ground I overlooked at some point. That's a possibility. That what was referring to, what's his name? Druff? I've already forgotten his name. Sorry, dude. My, Virgil equivalent here. One of the two, probably. Okay, I guess I'm just looking for an H at the moment, so... what would make a good H? That seems pretty good to me. And the game agrees. Alright, now I have to find a Y with an extra limb. A mutant Y. I get the feeling I know exactly where that will be. In fact, I'm curious, is it possible to find these shapes in multiple parts of the environment? Because the obvious choice for the Y is these, hanged corpses here. But it looks like I might be able to create the exact shape I'm looking for from multiple positions, depending on exactly how I end up angling the camera. Maybe there is only one fixed instance of it though. I suppose this gives me a reason to check out other people's playthroughs of this game, doesn't it? See how they make their way through.
Is sealed to the living, but you already walk amongst the dead. Look towards the gate, and you will see that it has opened.
I must say, this is a really cool puzzle mechanic. Very novel, and if they do let you find the same shape in multiple instances in the environment, then there's a lot they can do with it. I got rid of the barrier, but I can't seem to besiege anyway? Oh, hold on, what was that? Glowy fire. Oh, it's the torch overlaid WoW. So, even though I've never played it, it reminds me a little bit of Eternal Darkness for the GameCube. That's another game that is famous for doing all sorts of immersion-based creepy stuff with the screen. How do I make it through there? Okay. I was pressing X, but I guess I wasn't in quite the correct space. My bad.
When they first came to my lands, I knew enough of their tongue to beg for mercy, and they took me as a slave. I wish now that they had slaughtered me like the others. I rode their storm of fire, death, slavery to many lands. This darkness you speak of, I know it well.
And I'm still here to fight it.
Yeah, that sudden changing of voices suggests that, what's his name may in fact just be another voice in Senua's head. I get the feeling the game will never definitively point one way or the other though, and leave it up to the player's interpretation. And that's good. That leaves a lot of room for discussion. And yeah, being a slave, it's not so great in modern times, and it was even worse way back when. even if you were the indentured servant type of slave, life still wasn't all that great. And that was pretty much the tip-top hopes of slavedom, though of course being so much worse forms of slavery. Alright. More of these boys to deal with. Sorry about that. I am pressing the wrong button to dodge, and it may have resulted in a death. Whoops. Good thing the permadeath isn't actually real, otherwise I would be in trouble. Yeah, I was trying to press circle to dodge. Dark Souls muscle memory kind of screwing me a little there. I'll get used to it. Let's try taking down that boy again. As I have stated before, the combat in this isn't very difficult. Oop, I thought he was dead. There is a fair amount going on with smooth combos between your lights, your heavies, and your melee moves. That's the kicks and stuff. But I'm basically just mashing the buttons in a random order until I end up killing the enemies. The actual combat isn't all that complex. The only real complexity is the occasions when these enemies end up blocking or ambushing me. That was mean. And me needing to dodge their attacks. I don't know if both of them will try and attack me at once, considering one ambushed me from behind. That is likely. I shouldn't have done a heavy attack. Gave him time to do his own attack. Alright, only one more. So far it's been a consistent 3 in each of these encounters. Okay, the combat is more difficult. My dodge does seem to be pretty generous. If I press the button at all, I'm gonna end up avoiding their blows, so it's not so bad. I just need to keep the presence of mind to dodge. Nearly the end. Hopefully this is the last boy. And I don't get ambushed from behind again. That is rather nasty. Okay, yeah, the combat is actually ramping up fairly quickly here. Still not difficult per se. It's definitely tuned to be on the easy side, but you can't be too lax. You do have to pay attention.
When you see a fire gate of Surt, know that only a sacrifice will stoke the fires of Muspel, and let the dead walk through. Find the fire, Senua, to follow the path to Surt.
Alright, so I need to make a burned offering here to make it through. That seems to be what the game is telling me. I haven't come across anything quite like that yet, have I? I have seen some decaying corpses, maybe even a few burned ones. Do I need to bring one of those over here? That might be the case. I'm not sure if this was... So this was the path I took down here, and this is another pathway over here, yes? So I should probably explore this way. Alright, I guess I need to light a big fire here, or just focus on this. Okay. This is, suddenly pretty bad. Let's make our way to the gate, so we have to spend as little time here as possible.
Hell will not give you the answers you want. But you mustn't look away from the horrors it does offer. Because you cannot overcome suffering if you refuse to look at it.
Look at me! Look at me!
Where's it gone? The fire's disappeared. It was everywhere.
I do apologize if these occasional moments of levity I interject are out of place, but in a game as grim like this, I feel like they help.
How will she get through?
They prevent everything from being a grim deluge. Is my way blocked over here? It might be.
Find your own way.
You just have to find it.
It was never going to be that easy.
Yep, as the voices are saying, I have to find my own way.
Find him.
Not to diminish the issues that anyone who has psychosis has to deal with, but these voices actually kind of make me think of my tinnitus in a way. And the fact that it's something always there in the background that you can sometimes ignore, but will always end up butting in at the worst times and just aggravate you to hell. Now I imagine for people with psychosis, or at least severe enough psychosis, it's probably not just annoying, it is actually pretty bad. But that's just the way that I'm relating what the game is relaying to me to my own life. I don't mean to diminish any of the hardships that someone with psychosis has to go through.
The Northmen tell this story. Before the earth was created, there was a world called Muspel. Because it was in the south, it was bright and hot, flaming, burning. Sparks that flew out from Muspel became the stars. Other sparks melted ice on a frozen world.
Wait, that was the same lore node as the previous one I encountered, wasn't it? But I'm in a different location, I'm pretty sure. I'm a little bit confused. Well, I'll just ignore that for now. It seems I found the way forward. Oh, time for another hot fun time.
The fire, Senua, to follow the path to Surt.
Time for some fun in the sun.
It's too far.
She'll never find it. She'll never make her way back.
She needs to remember the way back.
What happens when she finds it?
Everything will burn.
She needs to remember the way back. Okay.
Everything will
Well, thank you, voices. At least they seem to be helping me here, so... Once I trigger the fire, I'm just gonna need to remember the pathway I took to get there, I guess. So what would be the best pathway? I'm assuming I need to follow a clear path. It can't actually go through the underbrush. That's probably what's gonna be on fire when I trigger it. Maybe I just need to look at the fiery bits on the ground. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it'll be easy enough once I actually activate it. We'll see. Seems like it's up here.
The Northmen made fire sacrifices, burning slaves like me to reveal the path to Surt. I searched for meaning in their suffering, in their eyes, but they just screamed like helpless pigs.
Yeah, people suck, and it was kind of even worse in the past when you just had so much more bullshit to deal with. Before I trigger that, let me just check around, just to see if I have a quick way back. Would I want to go this way? Yeah, I think so. I can drop down there, and that'll take me out quicker. 'Cause, I'm pretty sure if I don't go quickly enough, the fire will probably kill me, so... I'd rather be safe than sorry, you know? I'm running, geez, shut the hell up. Okay, yeah, I guess I didn't need to pay as close attention as I thought, but it probably didn't hurt doing that.
Do your gods answer your prayers, Senua? I asked the gods for mercy, all of them, even theirs. None answered. In the end, I set myself free. Defy the gods, Senua! Find your own path, like I find mine!
My gods abandoned me. I am alone.
Senua clearly just needs to believe in the her that believes in herself. After all, there's so many of her that must be a pretty potent belief indeed. Oh, there's a little building over there. Probably no one home. It looks a little bit run down.
Find the fire, Senua, to follow the path to Surt.
Oh, I think I'm going to enjoy having to run through burning buildings after I trigger this next fire path. That looks like what's gonna happen. Well, before I do that, let's make sure we get a lay of the land. If only just to appreciate these beautiful environments. Seriously, in terms of graphical capability, this game reminds me a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn, from what little of it I played. Helps that it has a somewhat similar looking lady protag. And pretty much the identical camera style as well, the same sort of over-the-shoulder third-person nonsense. And that's all the more impressive considering that Ninja Theory does not have the backing of a big publisher. I'm sure they must have gotten funding from somewhere, although I suppose it's possible they've provided it all in-house, if they've done well enough for themselves. But they don't have quite the direct influence that publishers do typically bring. That was, after all, one of the goals with making this game. But at the same time, that also means they don't have the benefit of all that extra money, and yet still, look what they managed to do. Okay, so I'm guessing the fire lies beyond there, and I need to find an X and an R.
Insatiable gods of darkness. I come from Erin, Senua, where I once followed my own gods, the Tuatha De Danann.
Why did you abandon your gods?
Senua, I was a man of knowledge, not a warrior. To survive, I did things. Bad things. Like you, Senua. The man I once was has died. And when that happens, even gods you worship can die with you.
Yeah, I just noticed that it seems those clusters of smaller symbols get denser around where you need to find the one that you need to look at. So they don't leave you completely to your own devices, they do give you a little bit of a helping hand, it seems. And that's good. While the puzzle solving here thus far has been cool, the main thrust of the game is the narrative. And you don't want to distract from that too much with a lot of tedious puzzle solving. Alright, the R is gonna be somewhere around here. The question is, where? Not over there. Doesn't look like it's over there either. Yeah, I haven't had much trouble finding the previous symbols, but I'm honestly not sure where I'm supposed to be looking. It's clearly somewhere around here, given all these smaller sigils, but maybe I passed by it. Let's head back for a second, just to make sure I didn't... Oh, hold on. It's probably part of the structure of the house. That would make sense. Let's see. There's a lot of triangular angles. Oh. No, that doesn't quite work. Am I going to be stumped by a puzzle so early on? Possibly. Maybe it's down here. Ah, the symbols seem to be fading, so maybe I shouldn't have dropped down. I hope I'm not being oh. Wait, that's not what I'm looking for, is it?
The Northmen say that the defender of Muspel is called Surt, the foremost of the fire giants. His name means...
Okay, no, that's just the lore node from previous. It's not actually the one I need to find to proceed. That would have been a clever trick, though.
He will travel to Asgard and Midgard, waging war against all the gods. He will be victorious, and then burn the whole world with fire.
Okay, the eye is clearly somewhere around here. This structure specifically. I'm just having trouble locating it. Oh dear, I might be stuck here a while. I had no trouble finding the previous ones, but this one just seems to be stumping me. Appropriate given all the felled trees about. That's where the hour is. I'll be honest, I didn't even see that. I was just scanning around with the mind view thing, hoping I would just stumble across it, and it seems I did. That was actually pretty cleverly hidden. I'm embarrassed though that I got stumped so early on by one of these puzzles. That's why they have that bit of auto-tracking where if you scan over it even just a little bit, it will end up auto-finding it, the rest of it for you. So that way less observant people like me can still actually get through this game. That's the equivalent of not actually having permadeath for people who are bad at the action. Well, the whole purpose of making it through here was to find another sacrifice altar, so... it's time to burn, baby, burn. Wait, shit, no, that was a figure of speech. I didn't mean it literally. Yeah, don't want to fall now. Gosh, this game does such a good job of being so tense and unnerving. And so far, it's not relied on anything cheap like jump scares. Just relentless, oppressive, and oftentimes frightening atmospheres. Oh, and the occasional boy, of course. Nothing more frightening than a boy. Can I use the fire to my advantage? Can I kick one of them into the fire and deal with them that way? That would make things easier. Yeah, I saw that one behind me. So they don't spawn in without any notice, I just wasn't noticing their notice before. Did I kill the other one? I'm not sure if I did or not. I guess I didn't. That or a new one spawned in. Okay. Not doing the best here. I'm trying to kick them into the fire, but that doesn't seem like it works for the most part. Okay. Thankfully, you can instantly dodge out of any attack, it seems. So if you make a mistake, you can pretty easily recover, so long as you have the presence of mind to do so. Oh right, we're not out of here yet. Not out of the burning woods just yet. Now we are, thank God.
Collapsed. Good. Let it collapse, and have the courage to shed your tears.
Raise your world to the prime!
My world is dead.
Only then, as with a newborn, will you see the world anew.
No. I see nothing now.
Truth, I get the feeling you're not the best role model for me here. Unfortunately, I don't exactly have anyone else to consult. You're the only one in the neighborhood who seems to be knowledgeable about the land of the dead, so I guess I'll just take whatever he says with a few grains of salt. Alright, well, we have another gate over there. Can I examine that from further away? And nope, gonna have to drop down. Fair enough. So I'm looking for...
How did you escape your darkness?
Senua, once I found my purpose, I was no longer enslaved to the suffering I had to endure to reach it. Unclouded by fear, I could see it clearly in others. Even my captors feared the fire of certain. And so, during one raid, I took my chance and ran, knowing that they would not follow. The fool ran into the fire. They left me for dead. Maybe they were right. But here I am. Free.
I'm glad I found you in the wilds. I wouldn't have made it without you.
Ellen was actually a little bit fidgety there. A little bit precise. Good thing then that it guides you by the hand so much. Wait, did I climb up from down there below? Yes, I did, okay. My, typically horrible memory coming into play here. And, in not the most helpful fashion. Oh, I think I know where the next symbol is. That was easy enough. Or is it? That's actually close, but a little bit mirrored. In which case, I guess I would need to come from the other side then? And look at it from below for it to count. I wonder if... Oh, lore.
The Northmen believe that the world will be destroyed someday. They call it Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. Asgard will be attacked by Surt and the fire giants. A monstrous wolf will swallow the sun, and the gods will fight in vain against their enemies. There is nothing they can do to prevent it. But Odin ever seeks knowledge and magic, hoping to find a way to postpone that dark day.
I kind of wish that the lore nodes did not fade out, or at least not so close. Having to stick around to listen to them fully is a little bit annoying. Only a little bit though. Well, it's two shapes, that was easy enough. Now I just need to find the third. Which one was that? A little bit of a funny triangle. Ah, that's why I couldn't open this door from the other side. Good old plank of wood. Man's best friend since ancient times. Some people will tell you that his best friend is a dog, but no. It's actually a plank of wood. Can't this count for that shape too? Like, isn't this basically that exact shape. I guess because it's slightly off kilter, it doesn't count, but come on, game. You kind of, rules lawyering me a little bit there. I guess that answers my question of whether or not there can be multiple instances of these shapes within an environment. It's only the specific one that they've planned out, and even if there are similar looking ones, that's not quite going to count. Oh, whoops, I accidentally went backwards. Let's head back up. I think I saw the shimmerings of this shape somewhere up this way. I just need to re-find where that was. Hopefully I don't have as much trouble finding this sigil as I did that last one that gave me trouble. Again, that one was surprisingly cleverly hidden. I never thought to look at the ground. That's why when I came to this one, at first I thought it might have been the light cast through this hole that would take the shape. But no, you just have to look at it from outside. But yeah, I'm starting to look at the ground a little bit more thanks to that one. Yeah, where's the funny triangle? I don't seem to be having much luck with encountering it. It's not in this pile of burning, rotting corpses, is it? Let's take a good look. Nice long look at that toasty, charred, marshmallow-like flesh. Delicious. I imagine I must have made quite a few of you very hungry. I'll try not to do that in the future. No, but seriously, where the hell was this last shape? I can't even seem to find its general location. How can a non-moving shape be eluding me so? You'd think they'd be bad at a proverbial game of tag, but you'd be wrong. Maybe they're not good at it and I'm just so bad. Always a possibility. Ah, of course, it's in the one area I hadn't yet explored. Makes sense. And, come on, shouldn't that count? That is basically that shape. No, that's not what the game is looking for. I'm just panning the camera around and seeing if the game drags it anywhere in particular. That is, after all, how I found the eye. Maybe I should be looking at the ground a little bit more. Doesn't seem to be helping here, though. Oh, wait. Does that count? I think it counts. I'm not sure why it was that exact spot. Should have been more like this, but I found them all. Why is the wood creaking? I was walking, yes, but the sound was coming from elsewhere on the structure. It could just be ambient noise, but this game has me paying very close attention to every little detail, especially the oral ones. Well, I guess it was just nothing. But if a game can scare you with literally nothing, just your own imagination, that's how you know it's a well-crafted experience.
Senua, if I can survive the fire of certain and escape my darkness, then so can you.
Alright, time to do this once more. Or not? I'm looking at it with my mind's eye, but nothing seems to be happening. I'm not missing something, am I? Oh, there we go. I guess I wasn't in quite the right spot.
Run through the fire. Keep running. Go on. Nothing will stop. Run, Senua. Run.
You don't have to tell me to run, Druth. I have plenty of voices doing that already. Oh no, it was a trick. Good golly gosh, these experiences are never pleasant. You'd think I'd get used to them, but it seems that's the limit of human toughness. Did I actually die there? I think I might have died there, given how it focused on the black rot on her arm. And yeah, I'm stuck behind the gate once more. I guess I needed to do something else there then. Let's try that again. I mean, I guess the fact that the gate exploded with fire should have hinted that to me, but I still figured I just needed to trund onwards? Is trund a word? If not, it's similar to one that would be fitting there.
Keep running. Go on. Nothing will stop. Run, Senua. Run, run, run.
Yeah, just gonna let that fire die down before heading onward. Oh no, we got alternating fire traps. What is this, a 90s platformer? Oh. Okay, well I guess he did need to give me that advice because I'm clearly not following it. I think I'm dying because I'm not just going full bore straight ahead. I can't stop to pause for anything, I just need to run straight through. See, that's the lesson the game's trying to teach you kids. If you hear voices in your head, you should listen to them.
I ran, Senua. Ran, ran. Through the fire. Keep running. Go on. Nothing will stop. Run, Senua. Run, run, run. Run, Senua.
Yeah, he literally says, run even through the fire. And yet I never thought to actually do that, whoops. Hopefully those 2 deaths don't matter too much against me. Even if permadeath isn't actually a thing in this, apparently dying too much may affect things to some degree. It may affect the ending you receive. Or so I've heard mention of. I can't tell if I failed it again or if I actually succeeded. I guess I succeeded.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This darkness takes everything. Everyone.
Senua, are you sure you want to do this? We can fight this together, side by side. We always do.
This is my battle. I have to face it alone, away from here.
Where will you go?
I don't know.
For how long?
I don't know.
I believe in you. You know that. Just promise me that you will come back to me. I want you to say it. I want you to say it.
I will come back to you. I promise.
Come on.
Cert, I'll kill you. And the day! Alright, big heavy strikes. He's basically just a bigger version of what I've been fighting already. I'm guessing I don't want to get hit by that grapple of his. Just a guess. Oh, yeah, just gonna back up for that one. Oh, he's gonna summon minions, isn't he? What? Am I supposed to go in, or do I want to wait? Even the voices in my head are exclaiming, what the fuck is he doing? Okay, that wasn't the correct move. I basically had two choices there, press onward with the attack or flee. I tried the latter and it did not work out for me. That's fair though. As long as I don't die too much, I should be fine. Alright, time to go on the offensive. Yeah. Don't think you can try that twice, buddy boy. Although I guess since this is a second attempt, it's technically the first time. I don't know if the death in this game works such that, like, I'm actually coming back to life, or if I'm just seeing premonitions of potential deaths. Because that seemed to be what was suggested by that first fixed death I had. Okay, he's got a shield now, that's, less than ideal. Can't attack him until it goes away, I guess. Focus? Oh, cool. Ah, there we go. Again, listening to the voices in your head? A good idea. Yep, he seems to be down. I think I might be near the finish. Or maybe not. I was too hopeful. I think I just need to kick him once. I don't need to do those melee moves. Fuck you, sir. Go rot in hell.
For every battle won, a greater battle takes its place. And so it goes. Until we fall. And in the end, we all fall. Even the gods have their time. Yet we still go on. Why?
I made a promise, and I will go to hell to keep it.
I die free, knowing you will carry my stories with you. I have fulfilled my quest.
Yes, you have.
When darkness comes, I vow to guide you in this life and the next to fulfill yours.
Then I will see you in hell.
Be ready to face horror in the eye, as I have, to find your answers. Your quest